Hi guys, welcome to the flight today, as we're down in Sion Valley Airport, which we did last night when we arrived into with the Star Alliance Austrian Airlines. We're going to do a flight to Lugano Airport in Switzerland, and then we're going to turn around and come in for the Aosta Valley IGS approach. We've got an IGS going into Lugano, and we're going to do the IGS Valley approach into Aosta as well with the Boeing 737. So we've got the Topcat takeoff performance as well, which is quite nice. And we'll set the aircraft up ready for us to depart runway 25. So don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments down below. And now we get inside the aircraft and start up ready to leave lovely Sion Valley Airport. So here we are in the 737-800. We'll go overhead, we'll get the battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded, and ground power is on, which is checked. Alarm the emergency exit lights, get the chimes on, fasten seatbelts, which are checked. IRSs can go to nav 1 and 2. Test the flap sends, which are fine. Flight recorder, which is tested and checked. A voice recorder, which can go back on. Get the packs both on to set auto. Isolation valves open. I'll leave the APU for now whilst we get the aircraft set up. Position light is on steady, which is checked. We'll go down onto the center console and get the main panel lights on. How's it going, my man? Hope you're doing well, pal. Get the panel lights on as we get the aircraft ready and set for departure. Go down into the FMC, get our panel lights set as well, so that'll be good for us to go. Okay, panel lights on. Go into the FMC now, get the aircraft fully set and ready to leave. We're into the IRS position. So leaving out today on Sion, we've got Lima Sierra Golf Sierra. Okay, punch that in to left GPS. Okay, which is in. Go on to our route. Coming in for Lima Sierra Zulu Alpha. On for the departure, we're leaving out of runway 25 and we're going to be taking the Spruce 3 uniform. Okay, which is there. Going on to our legs now as we get the aircraft done. We're going to go to the Golf 5, the airway. That's going to take us to Foxtrot Romeo India. From there we've got the Whiskey 112, which will take us to Sozin. Then we've got November 850, which will take us to Adina. So from Adina, then we're going to come in for the Adina 7 Lima, which is right here. And we're going to come in for the IGS for 01, transitor for Calco. So we'll activate that up, which is checked, go to the perf, request that, and then get the rest of the aircraft configured ready to go. So we'll just wait for that to load. Got extra 2 on the reserves, so we load that through. Okay, which is checked. Going for a flight level of 210. Cost index is going to be 80, which is in. Top of climb winds are going to be 244 at 11. That's going to give us a minus 10. Okay, that's fine. Go over to our N1 limit. For the performance, we've got a D rate of 45. We'll clear that off at the intersection. That's going to give us 93.5, which is fine. Over onto takeoff, we'll get the runway winds, which is 070 at 2. And slope is minus 0.1. Okay, which is checked. No descent path after Calgo, as we're going to spin around, then go in for the arrival. We're leaving now on a flaps 25. I've got 128, a 128 and a 134, which we'll put in for V2. So V2 plus 20 will be a 154. Okay, which are checked. Get the flight directors on as we go up for 210. Okay, which is also set and checked. Center of gravity 3.3. So that's all good for us there. We can go overhead to get the APU now set up. Okay, your damper can go on, we'll get all of our pumps in, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Window heats can go on. Going to be going with the engine anti-ice on as well. Electrics can go in. Got 210 over on the pressurization panel. Okay, which is checked. And landing ventilation coming down in Lugano for the IGS. And we are looking at 900. Okay, so that's all set for us as well. Exhaust gas temperature's coming up now, on for the APU, and then we can get ready to leave. Hey, how's it going, my man? Hope you're doing well, pal. So, EGT's coming back down. Switch over the buses onto the APU gen, get the APU bleed ready, engine bleeds can go off. 1 and 2, go to the APU gen, which is checked. Go and set out on our runway, which is going to be 247. Okay, which is also set and checked. Auto can be armed. Auto brake is RTO. TA can go over. And that is us pretty much ready and set to leave. So, got 93.5, which should drop down just a little bit just beforehand. So, we'll go and get the ground services now. Ground power can be released. Stairs can go. We can start the engines up on the block as we're literally going to taxi straight out to the right. There's 25 left for the start. So, we're nice and quick. QNH is leaving out of a lovely Sion is 1019. Okay, and here's the departure for Sion as we leave out runway 25. Let's take these specs, so we'll get the VOR in as well, which is the 113.9 as well. The 113.9's in. So we're going to leave out runway 25. As we go all the way, this is just for military activity. Once you get to Bearer, then you're going to make a right hand turn, max 250 in the turn, and we'll go straight up into the arrival. So that's all fine for us there. 250 all the way out as we're going to climb straight out. So we go LNAV and VNAV, that should be fine for us. So as we don't need the tug, ready for us to leave. Everything overhead's done with the fuel. We've got nothing really in the fuel. So turn off the packs 1 and 2, get the anti-collision lights on. We'll do the before start checklist. We've got the checklist as well, which we'll run through as well for the aircraft. So before start checklist, we've got the auto throttle, which is armed and checked. Left, right, centre fuel pumps as required. Electric hydraulic pumps, which are on and checked. Anti-collision light, which is checked. Parking brake set. Ground equipment is removed, and the engine area is clear. So secondary display unit is engine. Packs are off, and then we'll go for engine number 2. So engine number 2, which is going to come in. Start valve, which is open. Oil and pressure we'll see come to life. Again, 25% will inject fuel, and then we'll see the EGT, the exhaust gas temperature, come in. Now I'm flying off line power. So 25% we'll put in the fuel, and then we'll see the exhaust gas temperature start to rise for engine number 2. So there's 25%. Engine number 2 is now coming in. EGT is now lifting. 56%, we'll see the cutout for overhead to come back to normal, and then we can go in for engine number 1. Okay, so there's 50%. 53, 4, 5, and 6. Starter cutout's back. Going for engine number 1 now, just wait for that to stabilise on for number 2. Start valve's open. Oil and temps will come to life now, as we can see oil pressure starting to rise. Again, 25% will inject fuel, and the EGT will start to rise for engine number 1. Okay, 26%, engine number 1's now in. EGT will start to increase. We're taking a flaps 25 for takeoff. Going to be using the engine anti-ice, which we'll keep on for departure as well. And we've got flaps 25 leaving out 3.73, which is going to be over on the trim. 56, there's the starter cutout, which is switched back. Start valves are out, and we are ready to go. So switch over the gens 1 and 2, go over to gen 1, get the probes on, isolation valves which can go to auto. Packs can go to auto, bleeds on, with the APU bleed off, APU's off, engine start switch is continuous. In the cabin, let them know that we are ready to go, and that is us all set to leave. Engine anti-ice, we're going to leave it on, and we've got flaps 25. So we'll do the trim wheel first. So we've got 3.73, okay, which is about that, and we're going to be doing flaps 25, so we can watch them come down, and we're going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clicks. Okay, flaps 25 is in. Get the taxi charts. So we're only going to go right, then on left onto 25. Now, as we leave out now from the airport, roll it straight up Sierra, then take that left onto Delta right at the end. So that is us pretty much ready to go. So runway turn off lights, taxis, we got the panel light display on bright. That's us now ready to leave. So release the brakes and taxi on through. So release the chocks. 1 second. Let's get the chocks out. Chocks are removed. Okay, and we're all ready to go. So we'll take a right up Sierra and follow it to the end, and then we'll line on. Very short runway, so we've got flaps 25, which is going to lead us out. Lovely views in Sion. It was completely covered in snow yesterday. Guys having a great evening as we get ready for 2 IGS approaches, instrument guidance system approaches, one for 01 and then one coming in for Aosta Valley, which is going to be another valley approach like this one that we did yesterday. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. I think we might have actually just cut it a bit short. I think it thinks that this left here is the actual taxiway. But either way, we're going to have to go onto it, as we need all the runway that we can get. So we'll just turn the left here, just get her on, so we can go. We'll just cut it a little bit too far, that's fine. Okay, so we'll get the strobes on, we'll cut a little bit of the grass, make a nice tight turn, because we're not going to make that. As we run that left around, knock down some pylons on the way. We'll start back at the start of the runway though. We won't go through these. And we'll line up and get ourselves ready to depart. So we've got flaps 25, which is set. Yeah, you know them ones. Definitely for a 737. think it's only for this airport. It's only for like little business jets and the charters. But I thought it'd be fun yesterday to fly the IGS approach down in here. And Aosta, same sort of thing this evening. It's going to be a very tight squeeze down. So we're ready to go now. Let's get our landing lights all on set. Engine start switch is continuous. We've got the engine anti-ice switch is on. Flaps 25. Auto brakes are RTO. And we are now ready to leave. Yeah, for chart. This is like a charter airport for just little aircrafts. But we're going to give it a go anyway and see what we can do. So push forward on the column. Get the brake on. Power up to 60% just to give us some extra push. Let's stabilise, get LNAV, head select, which can go in as we pass through. LNAV won't come in as it's a few degrees offset from the runway. So we're stable now, release the brakes and toga. Okay. Airspeed live. Check, throw hold. 100 neutral on the column. Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
You're up. Okay, so V2 plus 20 is 154. So we'll hold the 249. 400 feet, get activate LNAV. LNAV's now in, and we'll follow off onto the track. Okay, as we speed up now. 200 we'll put in, activate VNAV in. Now control our speed out through the valley. Okay, we'll just trim now, so we can start to speed the aircraft up. So flaps 15, just checked. Flaps 5 and flaps 1. Okay, speed check, flaps are fully up now, auto brake can be turned off, gears up and off, no lights. As we fly now for 250, then the aircraft's going to start to climb up. Following the 231 track. So we're flying the aircraft manually now. I'll just trim in. Okay. Runway turn off lights, taxis can go off as well. Okay, there's 250 now as we increase the climb. So hold up for 25. See, we've got the Sierra Papa Romeo, which is 35 nautical miles away from. As the aircraft climbs up now, just to come back down for 250. You see the descent rate is absolutely crazy coming out. That's just the whole 25 as well. So we get CMDA in at the aircraft control what it needs to do. There's 250, which is checked. Engine anti-ice, which is already on. It's now plus 15, so the temperature's dropped up. Turn that off. Pass it through 9,000 feet. Landing lights can now be turned. Now we just get near to the mountains. The terrain's on as we go straight through the valley. Following the 232 track. As we leave a lovely Sion. Okay, so after takeoff checklist, auto brake which is off, flaps are up, no lights, gears up, no lights, packs are auto, bleeds are on, engine start switches, we'll turn them off now. As we now follow to spur, top of climb is going to be right there, 210, not very high at all, so we should get some lovely views in today as we leave out. And then onto that left to right hand turn, we're then going to track onto the 232, inset the 005 for the 355 for spur. So we've got some lovely views as we leave out the mountain tops. Okay, TRA, which is checked, passing through 18,000, we'll then switch the QNHs over to 1013. VNAV speed's currently in as the aircraft climbs up. Then we're going to rise to spur, which is currently 32 nautical miles as spurs over to the right hand side of us. As we can see, if we increase view, there's a spur, we'll just basically come back on ourselves and then basically override off of Sion. So, nice climb, nice departure. Right over the mountains, once we level off, get to our top of climb, we can then have a look at the arrival for the IGS approach and check in on the plan to make sure that we've got all of our points in that are set correctly as well. Okay, as we're all set now, release the seat belts, tell the cabin they can start doing what they've got to do. There's going to be a 210 in just a few moments. Oh yeah, definitely, pal. Aosta is definitely going to be a sight to see. Should be a really nice arrival, should be very scenic, just like Sion. I'm hoping so anyway. We'll do max auto brake for that arrival when we come in. And it should be something to see, definitely. Looking forward to it. I was always like doing some different approaches than what we'd usually do, you know. A little bit of turbulence. As we're going to get ready to go to that right hand turn. Yeah, literally, they're like little mini Innsbrucks. The Sion one, it was really interesting to do Sion last night. That was really interesting, coming in through the valley. And hopefully this one should be another valley one. This one we're going to go over the localizer, so we'll fly over the localizer, fly directly over the airport, make a slight little pearl drop, turn right near the end of the localizer, and then spin around in. So I'm going to check the plan to make sure that that is in there, and that's why I'm saying there's no descent path afterwards, as we're going to ride around and then activate the IGS. So on the PFD we'll see the FAC final approach course, and we'll see the GP, which will be the glide path instead of glide slope. So just waiting for this left hand turn, or this right hand turn should I say, which we're going to go into now. Switch QNHs over to standard, and we can take a nice little look as we spin round. But yeah, it should definitely be a nice approach, 100%. A bit of light turbulence just as we make this turn off. As we say bye-bye to Sion. That was actually one of the best scenic arrivals that I've done in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I can't complain. That was probably the best scenic one that I've done so far in the sim. I've been looking for some sort of nice sort of valley approaches. As the aircraft comes around onto the 322. Once the aircraft levels off, we'll go in and check the plan when we come down onto the arrival. You see the aircraft's just getting chucked about just a little bit. There's Sion just over the way, which is right there. Into that right hand turn. Okay. So we're going to take a left, which will take us on for the 335, which we've got set in. So once the aircraft does all of that, we go up to our cruise speed. I'm going to leave that as it is. We're going to plan, and we'll have a look at the approach when we come in. So I'm just going to step it through, just to have a little look. So basically going to go back on ourselves to come down. There's the spin around point for Caldo. And then we basically make a right hand turn at Caldo, spin back in for Pinnock, and then that's going to drop us in for the arrival. So get the arrival up. Engine anti-ice can go back on now. Okay. So if we have a look, you can see got the Adena 7 Lima. So we're coming in for Adena, which is above flight level 14 or above at 15. Drag required after Caldo, which is fine. So there's Adena, got 10,000 in, needs 1,000 above 1,500, so we'll get that in 1,500, see if we can put above in. Actually, we'll get 1,400 in. See if we can put 14,000 above in for Adena. So there's 14,000 above, depending on the QNH. We'll get that in. Aircraft can reprogram itself quick. Okay, as we come down, we're going to come down to the localizer, and then from the localizer we're pretty much then going to go to a Caldo, which is 6.5 DME from the India Lima uniform. From there, no descent paths, we're going to ride around into Pinnock, and then from Pinnock 6,000 above for Pinnock. So make sure 6,000 above is there, Caldo 6,000 above. So 7,000, which is right there as well. So we can put 6,000 above. Okay. 6,000 above, that should cancel that out. And that should be us all good to come in on the arrival. For the IGS, basically fly over the localizer, come straight down. Once we get to Caldo, which is 6.5 DME from the India Lima uniform, we're then going to make a right hand turn onto the 242. And then at 9 DME, we make a left back around, and then onto the 017, which is going to bring us in, which you can see here, down from 6 down to 5. That'll be at 5,000 for Caldo. So once we come back, there's 5,000. No descent path after Caldo. That's fine. If we need to, we'll drop it down once we get to the point where we spin, and then that'll be us ready to activate the IGS, which is just going to activate the approach, and that'll bring us down. So we've got 017 for the 108.9. So that's all good there. Minimums coming in. Miss approach climb gradient at minimum up to 5,000 feet. So we'll take 292, which gives us 2020 on the minimums. And we can see it's 6.65 degree glide slope, so quite steep as we come down. And we're probably aiming for around 130 to 140 on the V speed. So it's going to be quite sharp. We'll get ourselves fully configured before we start our arrival down onto the runway. Okay, tracking now. Onto that right, onto the 057. Okay, which is set. Just break over the water and then come back in. So it's not long now. For our top of descent, it's actually 97 nautical miles to our top of descent, and we'll be looking to arrive in at 9:36. So it's barely about another 25 minutes we'll be down on the ground. And then what we'll do is we'll switch around, reload the aircraft, and then get ready for Aosta, which is going to be us setting for the another IGS approach as we come down into that lovely short runway. Should be some lovely views as we come in. Not going to set the flight replay up on the first arrival. The second arrival will set the flight replay system up. Hey Trip, good afternoon my man, or good evening from the UK, good morning in New Zealand. Hope you're well my friend, nice to see you here. As we've got another nice valley approach coming in for Aosta in Italy on our second leg, as we're going to go down to Lugano, which is in Switzerland, ready for another. We've got two IGS approaches, so the same sort of thing last night, the IGS approach. We're going to be doing two of them tonight, an IGS for 01, which we're coming in for Lugano, which we're tracking right now, and then we've got an IGS approach coming in for Aosta. But I hope you're well my friend, I hope you're having a great morning, as we are here in the lovely Austrian Airlines. Okay, so it's currently turning now. We've got one more right hand turn before we backtrack ourselves ready for that arrival, and then we'll start getting the weather forecast in for the approach. So short and sweet flight for the first one, then we fly back into Aosta to Italy. 108.9, going to track in for the 108.9, the India Lima form uniform, as we come in from Edema, which is fine for us, and then 6,000 above down to 5 for Pinnock, that should be right there for 5. So as long as we're 6,000 above before once we go into that turn, we've got terrain at 4,000, 2,000, then we hit that 197 all the way back through. So it should be a nice approach, it should be really nice as we come in the 108.9 and the 017. Okay, 108.9, 108.9, 017, and the 017, which is in. So quite a low altitude today, not very high at all. Start to make our last right hand turn before we backtrack, ready to come in. So this flight is basically staying local to Switzerland, and the next one we're going to go to Italy. Okay, which is checked. As we now rise towards the mountains again, ready for that approaching. So not too far, there's our top of descent. We're going to get the forecast winds as well, get the METARs, so we're all set to come in for the approach. So Lugano, Lima Sierra Zulu Alpha. Let's get the METARs up for the airport. So winds are variable at 2, cloud and visibility is okay, temperatures at 8, which is fine. Trans altitude, which we're going to stick in for Lugano. Okay, so 6,000, we'll put 7,000 in. Actually, we'll put 8,000 just to get in with everything there. 8,000, which is checked. QNH is coming down. 1022. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put 100. Actually, put 150. 100 and 5,000. Go get the descent winds as we come in. So descent winds 282 at 32, 244 at 9, that's fine, we'll run down vertical speed after that, and the variable at 2, so put the 017 4. So that's us there, all fine. Top of descent will come back in as it recalculates itself. It's going to be down here somewhere. There we go, there's a top of descent recalculated, as we're only at 210 anyway, so we're not very high. Then that's us ready for the arrival in. We've got the 108.9, which is for the DME. That will set us for the IGS once we come through. So it's getting just a little bit choppy as we arrive, and we'll take a right hand turn afterwards, which will take us to the 171. There's Sossen, there's Adina, the start of the arrival, then we swing into the runway and get the aircraft fully prepared as we come in. Adina, then we slow right the way down to 219 and then 180 all the way through. By the time we get to Pinnock, we should be set up with the arrival speeds I'll set the landing speeds just before we start to come down, and then once we land we'll get ourselves all set. We'll do max auto brakes, we can actually stop. Cloud visibility is okay. So these IGS approaches aren't too bad, they're quite nice. It's nice to see something different on the PFD than just seeing the localizer and glide slope. It's nice to see the FAC and GP. So buckle up and get ready to come in, as we're only now probably around 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes probably, 10-15 minutes before we land down on the ground. And we'll see what the landing rate fares, as we ain't going to have no messing about. So what we need to do on this approach, as we'll quickly brief the approach, as we've just got some time. So the localizer is offset, as we can see coming down. We've got to come down. Actually looks pretty straight, so it doesn't look too bad, but on the charts it's offset by about 5 degrees or so, but we need to disconnect 2.5. The charts that I was reading, we're going to disconnect, so let's get our minimums in. We're going to put 292, so that's going to take a while to get the minimums up in. Right, so 2920. The localizer, the IGS approach coming in for Aosta, the localizer is basically 5 degrees offset, so we're going to disconnect at 4 DME and then just maneuver ourselves just around this tiny verge of a mountain and then swing a left in for the runway. Okay, so we'll put 2150 in. Okay, which is checked. Calculate our descent speed now. 6.6 to 6.3, so 0.3, 58.4. Okay, and we'll take a flaps 40. Plus 5 is variable. Under 10 knots, which is fine for us. And that's us all set in for the approach. Okay, coming down for Sion. We're going to make that left hand turn onto the 171. Okay, 171, which is in. Cabin can get told now. As we make that right hand turn to head towards our arrival star of the Addons 7 Lima. So we are now not far in Addons now, as we can see, just over 20 nautical miles. Just wanted to double check with Pixet. So Pinnock is at 6,000 feet. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, reset the MCP altitude now. 5,000 feet. That should be when we intercept. Okay, Pinnock. 6,000, which is checked with the RMP. Want the aircraft to stay tight as we come down. So we start our descent now. Once we find level 200, When we turn off lights, everything can come on. Engine start switches are continuous. Temperature checked. Engine anti-ice is on for now. That's 4 degrees as the aircraft now descends through flight level 200. 8,000 feet, we get the QNHs set back, which we said was going to be 1022. Winds are calm. Visibility and clouds are clear as well. There's our first decel point just before we reach in. No descent point after Caldo, so we're going to run the IGS. 292 down to 219, which should be our clean speed. So a little bit jumpy. So enjoy the approach, guys. First time again running into Lugano. I'm not going to run the speed brakes just yet. I was going to slow right down. What we can do is we get the wireless frequency for the IGS, which is in as well. We'll see that come up on the locator. Okay, and then we're going to start to really decel the aircraft once we come through. Adina is going to take us left onto the 118, and then we backtrack over the runway, past the localizer, and then in for that twisty turny and get the aircraft ready to go. So 140 above. Aircraft's going to start to pitch up now. Decel point's going to come in, and then we slow down to 219. So we'll open up the speed brakes for that so we can slow down pretty sharp. Okay, 118. Temperature's over 10 degrees now. Engine anti-ice can go off. That'll give us 3% less on the idle power. As you'll see, it's just powering back now, so it'll give us around 38%. There's a decel point. .140 above, down to 10,006 for Illusion. Okay, that's going to give us 292 to 219 for Lugano. It's quite choppy. Okay, speed brakes are open. Let's pass through 13,005, near to 10,000, we'll drop the landing lights. Okay, and by the time we get down to Pinnock, no descent point after Lucan, that's fine. Going to come down to 6,000 anyway. So oh, what's happened? I think the Sims actually just froze. It's a bit of a bummer, that is. Sometimes when you click the FMC too many times, like the clear button, it can make the sim freeze, so I'm not really too sure about that one. Yeah, I think it's gone. That usually happens when you click the FMC too much, so a bit of a disappointment there. But we'll have to reschedule that one, I'm afraid. I'm not going to set back up in Sion to come back again, as we're already about 40 minutes or so into the flight. So what I may do is may come back and we'll go into Aosta. Maybe I'll reset the sim and we'll come back through. So yeah, I'm not really sure why that happens. Sometimes the FMC gives a bug off when you click it too many times. It causes a freeze. I've noticed it a few times in the past with the PMDG. So I'll be back in a few minutes time, guys, and we'll load her in and get her ready to go. So just give me a few minutes and we'll be back in the sim.